Revelation 3242, from the 3rd of September 1944. God's mercy and grace. God's grace and mercy is extended to all who are in distress of soul. For his love embraces all his creatures, and his love seeks to lift up the fallen, he seeks to comfort the suffering, to help the erring to the truth and to strengthen the weak, so that the soul will recognize that there is one who is full of love and to whom it should now turn in love. And therefore his grace and mercy comes to the aid of all people who only want to be helped. For no person is too far removed from God not to be loved by him, and no person who wants to accept his grace needs to do without it. For God's love and patience know no bounds. But if a person's resistance against God is so great that his will of rejection is strong, then God withdraws his love and patience. Then he does not prevent the being from acting according to his will, which leads him towards the abyss. The whole of humanity has reached this stage that it closes itself to God's grace and mercy. Then this means that God's love slowly grows cold, that is, that his living creations become unresponsive to his emanation of love, and, since love receives everything, creation perishes. However, God's mercy and grace remains eternal, and it also helps the one who has completely fallen away from him to ascend again, only in a way which is not recognized as grace and mercy. For even the most agonizing state, the state of banishment in the solid form or the state of greatest torment in the beyond, is a means to help the fallen person ascend again. If God's mercy, the eternal love, were to withdraw completely from the fallen being, the material creation would also cease to exist, for God would no longer need it as a form for the spiritual, which is to develop upwards. The spiritual would remain in eternal darkness in the spiritual kingdom. But God's love is eternal and unchanging. It does not rest until that which once emanated from it has completely united with it again in order to prepare for it the bliss of its nearness. And this love always finds new ways and means to win over what resists it. It is just that in its state of opposition it must eternally lack divine love which, although it flows towards it, it cannot feel and which therefore also remains ineffective in it. But as long as the human being stays on earth he can constantly receive his love if he only wants to. God's mercy and grace come close to even the most distant human being in such a form that he can change, that he can give up his resistance against God and come close to him again. And his mercy and grace will become more evident in the time to come. It will one day throb on all hearts and bring news of God's infinite love, admonishing them to give up their resistance against him and warning them not to persist in their rejection, for the end is not far off, when God's love will seemingly withdraw from everything that lives on earth. But the spiritual darkness is so great that God's love is no longer recognized, and every day this darkness thickens, although a bright light shines. The divine truth which descends to earth as a ray of light and could bring people recognition if they were to expose themselves to the effect of these rays of light. But they flee the light, and therefore the end has come for people who are of dark spirit, so that they can start the renewed earthly path in order to one day ascend. Amen.